Hey everybody, it's time for another Tag It Tuesday for the month of September 2016. And this month our theme is monochromatic, which simply means you're working with one color, or the tints, the tones, and the shades of one color. So before we get into the project, let's talk just a little bit of color theory. Now, I have pulled out these tags that were from I don't know what, but as you can see, they're all varying shades, tints, and tones of purple. And this is a plain one just in case. So what I did is I pulled out everything in those colors, and we'll take a look at those in just a minute. But let's talk about what that means when I say tint, tone, and shade. When you start with your main color, or sometimes it's referred to as a hue, when you turn it into a tint, basically that's the color plus white, okay? Then when we talk about a tone, we're talking about the color plus gray, and a shade is the color plus black. Okay? Now I found this little graphic, and this kind of shows it a little bit better. Here is your beginning color. If you add white to it, you've got a tint. If you add gray to it, you've got a tone. And if you add black to it, you've got a shade. Okay? Now then, let's also talk about our featured color here, which is purple, violet, whatever you want to call it. As you may know, we arrive at this color by mixing red and blue, okay, which are on either side of the warm and the cold or cool families. So some of the products that I'm going to be using, you'll see lean more towards the red, which puts them on the warm side of the wheel, and some of them lean towards more blue, which is the cold part of the wheel. Another thing to think about if we were not working monochromatic is what are your complementary colors? And your complementary color is generally whatever is directly across the color wheel from what you're working with. So with our violets, red violets, blue violet, we're looking at yellows and oranges. I also found this color wheel, different variation of it, that is kind of interesting because it shows your primaries, your secondaries, and then your tertiaries are out here as well. All right, so let's look at all the products that I pulled out. And I know that this project and this video is probably going to make my friend Shell very happy because I know that purple makes her happy. So I pulled out, first of all, I pulled out markers. And you can plainly tell we've got some that lean more towards in the reds and more towards the blues. And again, I separated, well, let me pull these aside. These are gelatos. And you can see this one is going to have more red in it, and this one's got more blue in it. Okay? Again, here, different tints, different shades. Obviously, this is darker, so it's going to have had some black in it. This is lighter. This is a tint, so it's had some white pigment added to it. And just for a quick comparison, let's pull out these two. Shake them up good. I have a folk art metallic called Amethyst, and this is a Craft Smart. I think this came from Michael's. This is called Plum. Now you can plainly see by looking at the bottoms of these, this one has a lot more red in it, so this leans more towards the warm side of the color wheel. This also does. You see the difference between these two right here? Although this is a lighter tint, this is still more red, so it leans more towards the warm side, where this one has more blues in it, as does this one. Oh, we can't really see through the bottom of that one. Well, it was a good idea. Okay, so that gives you an idea what we're working with. So I have craft paints pulled out. I also have a distress paint. This is also one, obviously, that leans towards the red. And this is kind of an intermediate shade with these three. You may hear some thunder in the background. We're having some passing storms right now. Also pulled out this Deco Art Media Spray, loaded with fantastic shimmer. This is called Violet, and it obviously leans towards the red side. I have some dilutions, some glimmer mist, and these all lean toward the blue side or the cool side of the family. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to go with this, but I'm working with purple, violet, whatever you want to call it. I've also pulled out some black and some white if I want to alter these shades at all. And we'll just see where that goes. I have my silks, I have my gelatos, and this is just what I pulled out within arm's reach. I didn't go across the room and pull out watercolors or ink tints pencils or my big brush pens or whatever. I have Copics. I was just amazed at how much purple I had, and I was like, "Wee, I'm in purple land here." So again, I'm going to work with these tags. And even if you just look at these three that are already were from something, these two lean towards more towards the red, so my products that I have over here, and this one is a little bit more blue, or the products that I have over here. So I don't know what I'm going to do with a focal. I don't know if I'm going to just work with texture. But again, this is our theme, monochromatic, for the month of September 2016 for my Tag It Tuesday. I have a Facebook group where you can join along and post your pictures as well of the tags that you make, and I would love if you would do that because the more the merrier, you know. So we'll put on a little music, speed up a little bit here, and we'll see what I come up with, okay? All right, guys, thanks for coming by today. All right, now that I have bored you to tears with the color theory, let's get into making a mess. I will tell you that the first thing I did is I put a light coat of matte gel medium on both of these tags because I had a sneaking suspicion there was Dilutions ink spray somewhere in their history. So I didn't want them to smear, run, whatever. So I did do that first and dry them before I started adding other fun stuff. So I added some of the Deco Art spray there, and then just flipped it over on the second tag to get a little bit different look. And this is a Deco Art stencil that has some, this is, yes, a Deco Art stencil, but not the one I thought I was pulling out. This one's called Pixelated. And I started out here with this lovely kind of orchid color, and it was not light enough to really show on the tags because there was already so much busyness happening. So I ended up adding some more white to this to brighten it up. And I wasn't too worried about matching the stencil back up because it just creates another layer if it doesn't match anyway. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it, dang it. Alright, going to take a little bit darker color here, and you know where I'm going with this because I can't not put something around the edge, you know? Ink, paint, whatever. It seems to be the rut I am currently stuck in, but I still like it. Okay, now here's the stencil I thought I had pulled out earlier. This has a lot of great words in fun different fonts on it. And I chose to, I had to obviously pick some of the smaller ones since I'm working with just a standard shipping tag here. So I put the word inspire down here on the bottom, and then I'm going to flip it 90 degrees and put the word believe up along the top edge. And these, as they dried, they kind of pulled up some of the color through the white paint. So you'll see later I'll go back with a gel pen and outline them to make them a little bit more crisp and to stand out.
Here I've pulled out an assortment of my mark making tools just to prove to you that you don't need to spend a lot of money on expensive art tools. I have caps off of things. I have the centers out of Scotch tape. I have plastic canvas pieces. So yeah, pretty much everything works. Again, here I had a problem with it not being white enough, so I went right into the pile of the paint. Of course, then I got kind of a blob, but hey, it's all right. It's texture. So this tag primarily has the red side of the color wheel in the purple, and I did pretty good sticking with that. You'll see I have a problem with that on the next tag, but this one stayed pretty good on the warmer side of the reddish purple violet, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty. And another thing I do a lot of, adding splatters with my little bitty baby toothbrush. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And there you see I pulled out the black, so I'm going to make this be a darker, deeper shade of that reddish purple. And I got plumb carried away with the black. As you can see, I had kind of an ugly mess. So I had to come back in with that plummy purpley color. I don't know if I actually accomplished anything other than making a mess on my craft sheet, but hey, that's the way it goes. It's just a little bit of craft paint. No biggie. Painting there with one of my favorite tools, that would be my fingers. Okie doke, now we're moving on to the other tag, and again this tag is leaning more towards the red side of the color wheel, and I do pretty good with that until you see me pull out an ink pad and do some stamping later, and yeah, didn't work out real well. So here's another one of my fancy schmancy art tools here. This is a round piece of plastic canvas, and again, when I first did the first impression, it wasn't quite light enough to show up, so I'm just diving right back into my pile of paint there. Almost gives it kind of a spider web look, or a doily, I guess, if you want to be not so macabre. And oh, shocker, I'm going to go around the edge with a darker color of paint. I know, you're as shocked as I am. Alright, so here we go with the ink. An archival ink color, and this turned out to be way too blue really to work with this, and then I just add insult to injury. Here I'm going to pull out my gelato silks and paint on them. Again, way too blue to go with this red stuff I've got going on. And you'll see in the end photos, I ended up finding a piece of cardstock that went along with that blue side of it, and that's what I used to back this tag, and that kind of sort of helped pull it together a little bit more. But I still think this one flower sticks out like the proverbial sore thumb. I did go back also after this was all dry, and I don't think I filmed it, but I took my white gel pen and added some little dots and things on all 3 of the flowers. And I think that'll show up in the pictures at the end. So yeah, the more I'm doing this, the more I'm not liking it, but I'm committed. And I'm gonna make it work. Gosh darn it. And then I decided just to make the other 2 flowers to use the lighter color. Alright, now get prepared for the biggest oops of the whole video. This is Finnabair mica powder, and I'm adding it to the titanium white paint. I just wanted to make a little bit of shimmeriness in the white to do my splat. Yep, see that? Did you see that? That was the big oops. I wanted a little bit more mica powder in there. Thought I could just tip the jar over and get a little bit more. But no, I had to make a whole gob of this stuff just for a few splatters. But you'll see here that I used it on lots of tags and journal pages and things to use this up because I wasn't going to waste it. So you will undoubtedly see this showing up on a lot of other projects. More bang for your buck. Again, as I said at the beginning, I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group where we do these tags every month, and I will link that in the description box below. And I hope you'll come over and play with us. Check out the other artwork because we've got a lot of fun people participating. So I hope you will too. Come over and join and play along. So as you can see, I'm using up as much of this as I can. Not gonna waste it. Alright, well that's about it for the video today. The still shots are coming up. Hope you have a fabulous day. Thank you again for coming by. If you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I sure would appreciate it. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.